last season, Duke made an amazing run in the second half of the year to make the NCAA tournaments and win the ACC championship. The Duke Blue Devils are now returning 4 starters and adding in the number 2 recruiting class in the nation, all leading to a number 2 preseason ranking in the entire nation. So today we're going to take a look at what Duke did during the second half of their season to be so successful defensively, and then later we'll talk about their offense, which will be in a separate video. So if you want to see that, maybe scroll down and hit subscribe, or any more content like this analyzing basketball, primarily NBA stuff, but also a little bit of college stuff. Maybe scroll down and hit that subscribe button. That would be pretty cool. But let's talk about what Duke's going to be looking to do. They primarily ran this 2-big system with Mr. Kyle Filipowski and Derek Lively. Now with Derek Lively heading to the NBA, Duke will be looking to replace at least some of his minutes with Christian Reeves, the sophomore. He was presumably out in the game against UNC Pembroke that happened on November 1st. I cannot find confirmation of that anywhere, but I expect him to play a large rotational role to replicate a lot of the things they did defensively, using their, a great rim protector like Christian Reeves, who's got, very nice rim gravity as an offensive player as well. We'll look at that in the offensive video, but just pretty solid rim protection chops, better than Ryan Young and Kyle Filipowski, getting him in there running these 2 big sets that they like to run. So yeah, I expect that to happen. We're going to start it off looking at these 2 big concepts. And actually this clip, we got Ryan Young and Kyle Filipowski out there, the big duo that we're going to be seeing a bunch of in this upcoming season. And let's take a look at what Duke did as their primary defense, which is just staying attached on these ball screens. As you can see here, there's no switching going on. Maybe a little switch was being considered there by Dariq Whitehead because he's a little bit not as accustomed to the system. But basically, this whole system is about just stay attached, and just fight through screens, make it a tough shot. Gardner shooting over Filipowski, that's not going down. That's a great defense from Filipowski. Now staying attached, Roach goes under the screen, Grandison goes through the screen, and just stay attached right there. Proctor staying attached, and Roach fighting over the screen this time. Ryan Young, I think this is one of the most important things about this defense being successful, and we're going to see it a lot more in these upcoming clips. Shows to the ball on this little, this nice contact by Shedrick. You have to have the big showing to the ball because otherwise you can get to spots like that with Reese Beekman getting to a spot because the big didn't show off of the good screen. Duke's defense, I mean, just look at this. Beekman gets downhill. It's a decent shot, but just stays attached. The defenders just love staying in front and, or at least staying attached to the ball. Right here, they end up switching because it's a guard-to-guard switch. They end up just running that. Right here, Lively stops that curl from happening, and Proctor's just going to stay there, and a little stunt inside by Jacob Grandison is going to cause the turnover and draws a foul on the other end. Duke really loves stunting these drives. If you're not properly spaced out like this, or you have the opportunity to, stunt the drive, they're going to either, reach and make that drive difficult or just take that ball away from you. Grandison does a good job of it right here, but Kyle Filipowski is really the one who is a big menace in that way. He's got really quick hands, really good instincts on these types of steals. Right here, just staying attached. Virginia ran a lot of these screens just over and over during this first half. And right there, Whitehead sees that Grandison's not there, and he just completely bites on the pass. And yeah, when you have extreme athletes like Duke, they can just take away the ball like that. They've got, the top recruiting classes year after year. It's hard to stop them when they're playing defense like that. Right here, we just see staying attached. Lively is going to show to the ball. Make sure it's not that easy of a drive, and that's probably a block shot right there. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, Lively getting a piece of it, has to show to the ball because his teammate got hit on the screen really hard. Right there, Filipowski showing off his quick hands. He loves just taking the ball away. I mean, look at this. Mac Asmus steps up against Asmus and just takes it away. Asmus is such a threat from out there, and Filipowski not only defends him out there, takes it away. Right there, little kind of stunt, little kind of just cutting off the baseline. Great defense by Derek Lively. I think he had 4 or 5 steals in the 3 games that I watched, but 3 of them came against Oral Roberts. Right here, Virginia continuing with these little screen sets. Proctor just staying in front, staying attached, and then we can see a pretty nice shot right there generated by Virginia. A lot of the time in these offensive sets, what I notice is that as long as you set a good screen and Roach is not 100% prepared for this one, you can really open up these shooters. And I think it's one of the main reasons why Duke is going to be looking to change up things offensively. Even though if you're running the switch concept like they might be running a lot more this season, it's a little bit hard to switch this, especially with Filipowski looking inside. And it's a really nice drive and kind of like a drift concept with the screen to cut off the defender. And it's a wide open shot. Great shot by Virginia. Just doesn't go for the Cavaliers. Another one, we're just going to see just curling these screens is one of the best ways to be successful. Just coming off hard the screens, making Filipowski play in space is one of the best things you can do. Your roll man really has to come on hard when they're trying to trail the screens like this and stay attached. So with Shedrick trailing hard, Filipowski is now pretty much in this 2-on-1 situation because Proctor is trying to get back to the ball and Filipowski's trying to stop here, but Zero is going to be a little bit of a threat off the dribble, and that one doesn't go in, but he was fouled from behind, and yeah, I mean, good work right there. Continuing on with Tennessee and Duke's loss in this second round game. Right here, what I just noticed is that you're able to draw these switches if you come off hard on these screens, like curling the screens. Right here, we have Josiah Jordan-James is being guarded by Filipowski, and Key ends up getting Filipowski to switch onto him just by curling the screen. And now he's kind of got a mismatch. I mean, Key can't really work with that. He's not exactly a great ball handler, but I just noticed little things like this where you can get these types of switches, and when you have 20 seconds on the shot clock, you should be able to do something with it if you have some really nice ball handlers on your team. Right there, another really nice screen by Plavsic is going to, create some space for Vescovi, and a little seal right there. It's another switch, and Lively stuck out on Vescovi because of the switch that was forced by the great Plavsic screen. And with the way that Vescovi is shooting the ball this game, and especially down the stretch, that's not a bad shot for him, especially over Derek Lively a little bit far back right there. He's got the space. It's a little bit of threatening right there when you've got Derek Lively in front of you, but Vescovi can hit shots like that. And that's why you want to get switches like that. Vescovi with a little back screen and a screen for screener. And now just going to operate off of that little curl. He ends up drawing the foul right there because of the space, attacking the closeout. And he just got that little amount of space from Plavsic, just all he needs to be successful. When you challenge these guys with even better shot creators, it's going to be tough for Duke to be extremely successful. Even with, just like switching the bigs onto guards, like that's not going to solve your issues, even though you're going to see some different things from them in this upcoming season. Again, just showing how this concept can be abused. There, Vescovi is going to set the screen. Duke's a little bit overplaying it with how Vescovi is shooting the ball this game and just how much of a threat he is overall. And it's going to end up being a wide open Key 3 because Whitehead gets stuck on the screen and Key knocks it down. That's kind of how Tennessee just took over this game and beat Duke, sorry. And continuing on, Plavsic setting the screen for Vescovi, flips it, gives him a lot of space, and I don't know how in the world this didn't end up being a good offensive possession for Tennessee because Kyle Filipowski is just stuck there playing 2-on-1. And the way that Conlon was shooting a 3 and just making anything this game, this should have been a bucket 100% of the time with how high Lively is up. But just using the wingspan, cutting off any passing lanes, and Vescovi, as much as he's a pretty decent passer, cannot find a way through. Filipowski shutting down both players, closes out, and Conlon actually ends up drilling it, but that's a pretty good closeout right there. I mean, Duke will take that when you're closing out to a guy like Conlon. Anyways, another one. This is just beautiful. This is how you take advantage of the staying attached defense that Duke ran. As you can see right here, Conlon ends up setting the screen on, I believe that's Reeves, and just give it to Key, going downhill, curling the screen. And now Filipowski is forced to play in space, has to come up on the Key drive with the way he was shooting the ball, and that is an oop to Conlon. He's going to take advantage of the mismatch and score the bucket. So Duke's defense definitely had some holes last season. I mean, there's a reason they lost to Tennessee without their point guard and Zakai Ziegler, who is hurt. I mean, this was a very beatable defense, and we're going to take a look at some of the ways that Duke try to, fix up their offense, which they'll be looking at this upcoming season. Another just good screen, Kamwa, just out of Jordan James drawing Filipowski into the paint. That's a wide open three, and Kamwa hits maybe the biggest shot of the game, putting Tennessee Volunteers up by 11 to win this one and take out Duke out of the tournaments. Team that people considered to be a Final Four or championship game type of team, beaten by the Tennessee Volunteers without their starting point guard. Not something I saw coming, but very impressive offensive effort by Tennessee, taking advantage of the Duke defense and just their lack of, lack of creativity and fixing up their issues. And just, Tennessee just took advantage of what Duke gave them. And we're going to see right here some switching defense. This is what we're going to see a lot more of in this upcoming season with Duke. In this one, they're going to be running out with a 2 big front, but with this current Duke team, they might be starting Jared McCain. They might be starting Christian Reeves. I'm not sure yet. We'll see on November 6th with their first game against Dartmouth. If Christian Reeves is even playing, I don't know. But we'll see who ends up starting, and we'll see if they run more of the switch-heavy defense. I was a little bit suspicious of this game against UNC Pembroke that they played. I wasn't sure that a lot of the things they did were going to be what they run during the season, so I wasn't taking a lot of stock into it while preparing for this video. And but they did run a switch-heavy defense with Jared McCain out there, with the 4 returning starters in Jeremy Roach, Tyrese Proctor, Kyle Filipowski, and Mark Mitchell. Out here, we can see a few dudes who are not going to be in the team this season with Whitehead and Grandison, but this is a similar type of concept to what Duke is going to do. Let's get back to the start of this possession. Ends up switching the screen. It's a big-to-big switch right there. It's an okay switch for them. They end up switching back, and right here switches up top to Beekman. Can't give anything to Beekman. Gardner posted up at the elbow, and Roach is just going to sit under him, and make that a tough shot, despite it being a little bit of a mismatch right there. Gardner was scoring the ball well in the ACC tournament, but, it's just good enough defense to make his life really tough. Right there, switching up top into Asmus. When you have these types of really scary offensive weapons like Asmus and this is McBride, I mean, you had to play these switch type of defenses, and I will live with that. Derek Lively trying to chase down a little small guard like McBride, that's a good type of switch right there. And right here, we're going to see some Duke 2-3 zone. This is kind of their break in case of emergency, and they did a really good job in it. I mean, I think Tennessee only had a couple of really nice buckets right there. Filipowski knocking it out of bounds using his quick hands again, just doing a really good job stunting and trapping and that sort of thing. Right here, continuing into the 2-3 zone. It's just a really nice 2-3 zone. They do a good job of it. They're pretty long, and they only got longer. I don't know how else to word that. Filipowski's okay out there. He's not that big of an issue being one of those wing players in the 2-3 zone. And I mean, you're replacing Grandison with either TJ Power or Sean Stewart out there, 6'8", 6'9", lengthy wings that are going to be really tough to deal with. And also Mark Mitchell, who wasn't even available this game, will be out there for a Duke. So that 2-3 zone is definitely a weapon that Duke can go to. They played well in it. They look to be pretty experienced in it, despite not running it that much. And they just communicate well. Filipowski and Lively kind of operate as these really nice commander types, I called them. Right here, they kind of audible out of the 2-3 zone with Kamla up top, and ends up being a really tough possession for Tennessee. I like this kind of audible out where we just see we kind of not really in position anymore. Or sorry, no, that's the previous possession. My bad. But I just like this kind of audible out where we see this zone's getting overloaded right here. Grandison has to pick up, Lively's coming up high, and Filipowski has to stay attached right here. And now we're just not in a 2-3 zone, and they just are able to communicate that and just go right back to their stay on everything defense. That's really interesting look and can be a very versatile defensive weapon for that Duke Blue Devils team. Once again, in the 2-3 zone, they really tried to run this against Tennessee to give them the win, but right here we're going to see how Tennessee just takes advantage of it. You got to flash fast and high to the ball and just put your 2 bigs on the blocks flash to the ball. You're going to look for that inside pass or just for that mid-range shot. And right there, it's open for Kamwa. But we're going to see the other option right here. Now we're going to see the pass with Kamwa now a little bit of a high-low. You kind of always want to be in high-low when you're facing a 2-3 zone. Plavsic pops to the ball, and he's just sitting right there. He's flat. He's going to flash right back to the ball, trying to get open. Flash to the middle pass is open, and you can drop it inside to Kamwa. Kamwa 20 plus this game, and Tennessee just continually taking advantage of whatever defense Duke ran despite not having a point guard. And here's just a quick look at what they did with their trapping defense against at the end of the game. And let's just take a second look at that. Using their 5-man as the trap man to trap the first pass, and then zoning up on the other 3 players passing options in the little triangle. Whitehead and Proctor trying to do their best to cut those passes off, and Vescovi ends up having to call a timeout. But yeah, that about covers it. Duke will be looking to run more of that switch heavy defense because, I mean, their other defenses were getting exposed. And I'm sure the switch heavy defense will also be exposed. There's 3 guards out there, and there's a lot of bigs out there in the rest of the NCAA. They're going to be taken advantage of, and it's going to be interesting to see how Duke adjusts defensively after not doing an amazing job of adjusting defensively during their previous season. John Shire's got to step up in that way. And yeah, that's, you know, trials and tribulations. We'll see how Shire adjusts on a game-to-game basis, and just how teams try to take advantage of a new, more switch-heavy defense, or a defense that might be still continuing to focus on staying attached and using their bigs to guard the paint, just depending on what lineups the Duke Blue Devils put out there. But that type of versatility defensively is very, very great. And yeah, I mean, it's going to give Duke a lot of options to be really successful defensively. I mean, they had the number 2 defense in the ACC last year, and they were only like 3 points behind Virginia, who had like one of the slowest paces in the entire NCAA. Like, that's very impressive what they did defensively, and they're going to look to continue that momentum into the upcoming season. They got a lot of guys with quick hands who love stunting on drives, and they're going to do a pretty good job of running that switch heavy defense. But we'll see what the Duke Blue Devils end up doing in this upcoming season. Hopefully I should have the offensive video out for their next game on November 6th. So yeah, as I said before, if you haven't subscribed already, maybe scroll down and hit the subscribe button for that offensive video and more basketball content just like this. Anyways, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.